Everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts Designs. I'm coming out today to share with you a little hollow bead, hollow pendant technique, whatever you want to call it. Now, of course, there's lots of different ways that you could finish the front, and I've got several other pieces. I've got a Halloween one that I did just a stamped surface on it. And I've got these fun little, well, this one looks like a moon. With a fun face in it. This one looks a little more earthy, maybe. Also with the face in it. I haven't decided what color I'm going to paint this yet, but it's got two little opal cabochons in the stone on the bottom. This time I've got some black Primo. And then I've got, now of course you can use the Sculpey, I don't even know what it's called, but I don't have that. This is the cut off bottom of a beer can, or a soda can would work just as well. So I've got two of them just to make it easier for myself. Then I've got the round graduated cutters. I believe these are the Sculpey ones. This is actually two different sets. And I'm going to use the largest one. I'm sorry, I'm going to use the largest one and the next smaller one. Two larger for the front and the back, and then the smaller one for the middle. It's just a middle layer that this face is attached to that will fit in between the two. Alright, so I'm going to roll this out on a 4, and I'll be back. Okay, I've already cut out the two larger circles. I'm just going to cut out the smaller one. Alright. Now on the smaller one, I'll just put it on a towel because it will bake flat. Okay. Now on the others, and I'm going to do this one in a similar fashion. On the others, I did a little bit of a circular moonscape kind of detail. Not pushing all the way through. Now keep in mind I'm going to put a face on here, so I don't need to cover the whole surface. You could put stars or whatever kind of detail you want to add. Some of them a little closer, some of them farther apart. Some of them a little oblong shape. Alright, something like that. Alright, this one is ready to bake. these other two, make sure the back is cleaned off first. Just gonna put them on the domed side of these can bottoms. Now keep in mind, it's just a 12-ounce can, so it could be a soda can just as easily. I just didn't happen to have any. Okay, so I'd put both of those on the soda can, and on one of them I'd do similar to what I did on the inside. If I could get it centered on there, which really and truly is easy to do. That for me it wasn't for some reason. Okay. Okay, and since this one is the back, I would do similar to the inside piece where I wouldn't go all the way through. I would just do something similar to a moonscape. Okay, this one was the granite that I did. This one I went ahead and textured the entire background using the ball stylus tool. Okay, inside, backside, and front side. And for the larger holes, I just used the smaller of the cutters, making sure not to put it too close to the edge. Okay, this time I'm going to do one of the one of these smallest of the graduated cutters. And then the round cutter out of the sets of cutters that I have no idea what the geometric set or something like that. And once again, making sure not to put it too close to the edge. I'm actually going to do a couple of those. Okay. So, I will just go on with this one, continuing with the moonscape sort of theme. Now remember, it doesn't really matter if you get one that goes all the way through. Because this is just going to be the back. Don't know why this is so hard for me all of a sudden. There we go. Just something like that. Then, on the front side, I'll go in and go around the inside of the circle first of all, just to give those a lip so that it'll match with the rest. Now on this one, I will do them going all the way through. It's relatively easy to do with the ball stylus. I generally go with the large end, larger end first of all, and then go back with the smaller end, just to kind of fill in. Okay, and you can do it on the front and on the back, and you can even do it on the inside if you want to do it. It will distort the circles that you've cut out, but that's fine. It will make them look a little more natural. Okay, this face is from the Sculpey Faces mold, which nowadays is a bit harder to find, but I'll try to put a link down below if I can find one. Just a little bit of Sculpey Bacon Bond. Okay, now I'm gonna press this one down pretty well, because it was not formed in the mold very well. That was a bad on my part. Okay, And now I've got a little bit of the bacon bond seeping out, which really won't matter because it will cure relatively clear. The only thing I'm wanting to be sure of is that some of the face will appear through the holes once it's baked. So I'm going to bake these 3 pieces 275 for an hour like I always do. And then I'm going to come back and possibly this time I'm going to paint them ahead of time. I'm going to at least paint the face ahead of time before I do anything else. But before I bake them, I'm going to decide on a dangle from the bottom like I've done on the other 2. Just because. Just to keep in, I'll form the dangle after that. Okay, here are the pieces out of the oven. I've got, this is the Folk Art Metallic Amethyst, just because it happened to be what I had. And I can't open it. Okay, I literally had to get the pliers out after it. Okay, and since I'm just going to paint her face, I'll just paint out of the lid with this absolutely horrible paintbrush. Okay, it's still a horrible paintbrush, but it's a little better. I'm just gonna give her a couple of coats of this. Now I've lost all desire to paint her. Take better care of your brushes than I do. Okay, I'll let that dry and then I'll give it another coat. Okay, then I'm going to take some Folk Art in the Metallic Peridot. With a fine detail brush, which is also a really crappy brush. Okay, and I just did a little circle around her eye. using the same brush. I've just got, this is the Americana Snow or Titanium White. Not gonna use my brush. Gonna use the ball stylus. Just gonna put a few just alien-esque kind of spots. Okay, just a little something that maybe will show through when we put it all together. Okay, now while that's drying, I'm gonna go from the back side and just clean up the little gibbets or circles or whatever we want to call them. Okay, and that's just because some of them have a little bit of, I don't know what you'd call it with polymer clay, but flashing, for lack of a better word. Okay, on these larger ones, you'll have to be a little bit more careful. Okay. Not most of it. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to take just a little bit of this, what we've got left. And I can't even begin to tell you how much that is. It's just some. We're going to roll it into a snake or a log. Okay, just something like that. Something that will fill the gap between your bottom and your top. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is put some Bacon Bond just around the very edge of the back side. Just do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay. And then we'll stick the flat inside the bottom. And it should fit nicely. It could be a little bit wallowed out one way or the other. Just spin it around. It'll fit one direction or the other. Okay. Okay. Now I put another line of Bacon Bond around the outside. I'm putting the snake or roll around that outside. Okay. Then I'm going to place the top on, and I'm going to place it where as much of the face shows as I can get. Okay, then I'm just gonna line up the front and the back half. Once again, just the best I can get. Okay, then I'm going to go around the edge. And kind of press that rope into the seam. At the same time, I'm going to press the two halves together. Not worrying about the Bacon Bond squishing out at the moment. That will for sure happen. Okay, now I'm just going to wipe my fingertips off a little bit. Now I'm going to, using my finger, just going to go around the edge. pressing that rope into the seam. At the same time, I'm going to press that front and back really well. Okay. Then I'm just going to take the ball tool and give the rope a little texture. That will help to disguise it a little bit. The reason that we did it this way is just to lift that top up just a little bit so that it doesn't lay on the face. Okay. And once again, I'm going to do the big end, and then I'm going to turn around and do the small end. Just to help with the texture, just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to add one of these resin rhinestones, gemstones, whatever you want to call them. I actually got these off of Wish. And yes, they take a long time to arrive, but they have them in several shapes. I've got the teardrop shape, the round shape, I'm not sure what they're called, but they're really pretty. And they actually last under the heat. I mean, they will survive the heat. So I'm just going to add a drop of Bacon Bond. Now that I finally have a bottle that actually works. If I could hold on to it. Now this is a pointed back rhinestone, but you could definitely use a flat back. Okay, I'm going to really press it in there until I get a little squeeze out of that Bacon Bond. That way I know that it has really set in there. I'm not going to worry about the Bacon Bond that has squeezed out, because that will actually help hold the rhinestone in the setting, as you would say. Okay, now I had already textured this piece, but of course it flattened out on the back, so I'm just gonna add a bit more texture. Okay. Now, one of the things that we need to add is some jump rings. So I'm just going to pick a spot that I like. And I am going to cut a slit in the unbaked part that we just added. Okay, and I'm going to take my bacon bond and I'm going to go where the jump ring divides. I'm going to put a bit of bacon bond. Then I'm going to insert that end into the slit that we cut. And I'm going to make sure that the bacon bond covers up that slit. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to take my knitting needle and I'm going to divide the piece in half just with my eye. That will give me an idea of where I want the other jump ring. So I can again make a slit. Find where the jump ring opens up. And then insert it into that slit. Now I'm going to insert it about halfway, because I don't really want much of that jump ring to show. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this dangle that we just made. I'm going to cut a slit. I'm going to cut a slit and I'm going to wiggle my craft knife just a bit to open it up, which I did on the other two. Okay. Little bit of bacon bond. Then I'm going to force that jump ring down in there. This time, I'm going to just drag my knitting needle across there to give it a little bit better, I don't know what you want to call it, anyway, to make sure it sets just a little bit better. Okay, then I'm going to make sure that the top of the rhinestone is cleared off. And adjust the jump ring just a bit. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to bake these once again, 270 for an hour. Okay, here it is out of the oven. I went ahead and put the dangle on the piece with another jump ring. Okay. You can still see a little bit of the separation, but we could clean that right off with a little sandpaper. Okay, so there they are. I still don't know what I'm going to do with the brown one. I may try some crackle glaze on the face. I want it to stay white just because I did use the opals on the dangle. So maybe a little crackle glaze with, I don't know, some mica powders or something in the cracks. And then antique the whole outside. I'm still just not sure about that. And this black one, I was going to do some antiquing with the purple color, but I just like the way it looks. I like the sheen that the polymer clay has. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'll put some really pretty fire polished glass beads and it will turn out really great. Alright, so if you got any inspiration at all from this video, please like, share, and subscribe. As I always say, I've got a Patreon page. I've got an Amazon affiliate page that I do get a little kickback from, just to help support my channel. It's very little, actually. I've got a new Facebook group. I've got a regular Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, yada yada yada. I believe that's it. All my social media links will be listed below, as well as my address if you want to send me anything. I think my email address may be listed down there somewhere, or it's on the About page. Either way. Bye for now.